Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here, back with more Let's Play Dragon Force, and I have no idea what's going on right now. I really don't. So, this is actually post-commentary, because I went to go edit this video, and apparently my computer ate this audio file. I opened it up and it was corrupt. It had the first 10 seconds, and then it was just... and then it was nothing. Like... 20 minutes of nothing. I was very surprised, to say the least. Really not as frustrated as I probably should have been, but yeah, I was having a good night, very good night. So, for those of you who know, I record several episodes in advance, edit them, and then upload them over the course of a couple of days, and then, every couple of days I do that. That way I have, one or two videos as a buffer, just in case I don't get a day to record. That sort of thing, just to make sure I try to not go too long without uploading. Now, Dragon Force has been a pain because I've probably missed 5 or 6 days worth of uploads during this project, which is the most I've missed in a single project in a very long time. And it's because, part of it is recording a 20-minute episode of this is a little bit more tedious because it's a little more boring. I'm not gonna lie. The domestic affairs section is really boring, and it's really hard to actually make it entertaining. But I don't want to cut it out, because then you have the problem of, what did he get during domestic affairs? Did someone join him? What items did he get? What items did he use on people? That sort of thing. So, it's a little more tedious. And then I've also got a ton of stuff going on in life. Like, I just had a birthday, so that was a kind of a big deal. Not really. Like, my friends made more of a big deal of it than I did. But, it was fun. Went out, had dinner with some friends, got some cool gifts, and then I'm playing Final Fantasy XI again and trying to, get events done in that with some friends, and finally got a relic weapon. That's only something I've been working on for, since the North American launch. Something I never thought would happen. But yeah, it's been a little busy and a little hard to keep up on updates with Dragon Force for whatever reason. And then I'm planning all these next projects, and I'm like, I gotta make sure I don't miss as many of those as I have with Dragon Force. It's crazy. So yeah, I have no idea what's actually going on in this episode. It looks like I'm still trying to move people to the shrines. The last thing I remember is the last thing I actually recorded, which is, again, a couple episodes ahead of this. So I have no idea what's supposed to happen. I could have watched the video to try to get some idea, but there's only so much idea I can get with what I was planning without the actual audio. It's amazing how that works. It's like, I have a plan. Can you tell what the plan is with me just showing you part of the plan? I'm not going to explain it, because you can't hear it, but there's part of the plan there. Can you figure it out? That would have been hilarious. And, so yeah, this is the boring part, doing this. Like I said, I am several parts ahead, and I'm glad I finally got over the hump of waiting for triggered events. Probably my least favorite thing about this game, or really any game, a triggered event, something having to wait. After playing, like I said, I've been playing Final Fantasy, waiting for triggered events, and it's like you gotta wait for... for those of you who've played Final Fantasy XI, if you do any of the specific quests and missions for particular areas, most notably I've been doing a lot of the Ott-Ergen stuff to finish that up. And waiting, some of the quests you have to wait till Japanese midnight, which is just such a pain. It's such a pain. Because you can get so far and go, I've got to wait for someone else, another time zone to hit midnight. That's just ducky perfect. Well done. And then, like I said, in the process of getting a relic weapon, like, you have to wait a week. Like, a week real time. You trade as you're in the process of upgrading, goes through several stages. You get one stage, and it's like, okay, give the NPC the weapon and all the upgrade materials, and it's like, oh yeah, come back in a week. Not a week game time, which, days in-game are, about an hour, a little over an hour long. No, week real time. You drop this off on Wednesday, come back next Wednesday. It's crazy. So, but yeah, Dragon Force. But let's talk about Dragon Force. I don't know what to talk about Dragon Force when I'm not actually playing it. Like, I'm sitting here watching, it's like I'm just waiting to see if any of these people find anything. Anything good. And that's the sad part. There's really nothing good that I can find at this point. Because I've got pretty much the best items I can get on my monarchs, except for the items that I get through the story. But I only get 3 of those, 1 for each of the shrines. But like, I get a whole bunch of Dragon Crest, and I can just use Dragon Crest on everyone. But it's like, it doesn't matter what other generals I get, like Vlad and Vangal and Lone and Kodiak and so forth and so on, because I can't bring them into the final fights. Like, I just can't. It's just the Monarchs. So I've got some of the best stuff the Monarchs can get, so there's really little to no point in searching anymore. Really, the only thing that it's useful for is finding the attack and command up coins, so that I can make Junin even stronger than she already is. But the sad thing, she's really not that strong. Like I said, I've gotten a couple episodes ahead since, post-commentary, but I've used her, and she was not as strong as I was expecting her to be, given how much I've just thrown at her, item-wise. Like, I was expecting, special attacks to do, almost half health to some of these people. And no, doesn't happen. Really disappointed by that. So, I'm so tired. God. That's the one thing I hate about spring. But it's not spring as the seasonal. It's spring as the fact that I live in the US and we still adhere to daylight savings time for whatever asinine reason. I hate daylight savings time. Because I don't recover from the time change until like a season later. Like spring, we do the spring forward, which means you basically lose an hour. It's like, it takes me till almost summer to get over that. It's like, oh, well, yeah, now the sun's coming up at a completely different time, and it's going down at a completely different time, and God, my days are just completely effed up. Like, I have no idea. And then it happens again in the fall. We gain an hour. It's like, okay, it's getting darker quicker. The darkness is coming after me. What? I don't... And, like, sleep. Sleep is my default response to pretty much anything like that. It's like, oh, well, your sleep schedule's screwed up. Just sleep more. And then you get into that weird pattern of, well, I'm sleeping at odd hours. I don't want to sleep at odd hours, so you try to force yourself into not doing it. But yeah, it's a thing. Sleep. I'm tired. So that looks like it's the end of domestic affairs. Finally, that would be fantastic. Let's go out and see what it is I was actually trying to accomplish. Looks like I'm just moving people, is what's going on. So I've got my monarchs moving to the shrines that they're supposed to go to, which I kind of gloss over that later, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit now. The game will give you a a little passage that tells you what generals are supposed to go, or what monarchs are supposed to go where. The southern shrine is the easiest because it's someone who has control of water, someone who has control of fire, and someone who is calm like the forest. That's pretty damn self-explanatory. Like, it really doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. The eastern shrine on the cape right behind Pale Moon's castle, the three that it uses is psychotic. It's earth, lightning, and wind. Who the hell are those people? How does that make sense? And then the top one is the power of light and the power of heaven. Those two. Who are they? So, I've already talked about who goes to what shrine. So we know that Terrace, Mikhail, and Galgos go to the southern shrine. That one's painfully obvious. Leon, Junon, and Mikhail go to the east shrine. And Wen and Goldart go to the north shrine. Well, some of the discussion in the game, and I was like, if someone could point this out to me, and they actually talk about it when you get to the shrine, and I missed that, apparently. But, like, Leon's the power of earth, Junon the power of lightning, and Mikhail is free like the wind. The wind, the only one I could see Mikhail being wind-related is his sonic boom looks different, and he has an ability called Gale Blast. So, you know, kind of synonymous with wind. But Junon has nothing lightning-based. She's got Flame Cannon, Meteor Storm, and Sonic Blast. She is actually more related to fire than Reinhardt. The only reason why anyone would think of Reinhardt is because he's red, for one, and in the opening cinema, he's sitting there shooting a fireball, even though it's a spell he doesn't have. Actually, no, I think he might have Meteor Storm, but, you know, Junon's got more fire-based abilities than he does, when it boils down to it, because Reinhardt's other two abilities are Thunderfall and Summon Guardian. So, none of this makes it. And I will be bitching about that in another episode when I actually get to that point, because that was one of the last things I recorded, was dealing with one of the shrines and just being so confused. None of it makes sense. So here I'm just going to go through and get everyone as stocked up on troops as possible. So yeah, that's what's happening here. And yeah, I realized that I've been neglecting a ton of these troops, which just makes me kind of sad. And it's probably made them kind of sad too. Which is probably why, you know, Rock was pissed off at me for so long, because I basically just left him in a castle with no troops, and he was just like, yeah, I'm tired of your BS. I kind of want to get ready to leave. He didn't leave, I had to give him a faith coin to fix it, but... And then we're back at domestic affairs, because, God, domestic affairs. I'm so tired of domestic affairs. I actually want to go back and check my original LP of this and see what my battle count was at this stage in the game. See how many, what my win-to-lose ratio is. Because like I said, before I deleted the Mikhail file, I had a lot more retreats and losses with Mikhail than I did in this playthrough, which astounds me, really. Alright, so, okay, is this... do I fight them in this episode? I don't remember. No, yeah, I think I do, because I still got plenty of time left in the recording. So, yay, Skull Kids. I'd rather take the Skull Kids than what'll come out after me later. So, that's a positive, I guess. Topaz Castle has been attacked by Pain and Agony, those guys that I've beaten a dozen times before. And I'm gonna have to beat a dozen times again. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna have to beat them a dozen times again, but I'm gonna have to beat them a fair bit. And this is my ninja or samurai castle, where I've got a ton of people with samurai, and that's about it. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to suck. I need to level people up because Pain and Agony are level 21, 22. Most of these people are barely level 10. So I take the opportunity to level up some of my weaker samurai-using generals so that I can use them for future battles that are going to just be a pain. Now, Agony starts to basically shake things up a bit by using a surround formation, and I think this is the first time we've seen this in this LP. This makes for a very devastating formation early on, because it basically causes your troops to fight on two fronts, which, if you remember the first strike ability of non-moving troops, it makes it very difficult, because as you can see, I've passed through them, which means now I'm running straight into them, losing so many of my troops. And then once they actually start engaging is when I start to do some damage. But then he basically separated the outer wings to the very edge, and then they can come back in. And so it basically just... it's designed to engulf the enemy troops once they get right up on you. Which, as we've seen in a couple other formations that were not originally designed for that, kind of like how when I use the disperse and I just kind of close in on them, it makes things go rather quickly, especially with things like mages, because they can't attack as quickly because you've basically got enemies already in your face. So that's the designed effect for that formation. And basically Agony gets a 20 billion hit combo. I do remember this part. I kind of wanted to take one of the combo sound effects from Killer Instinct and superimpose it over that, because Jesus, Agony just ripped Mistel apart. I would have been so pissed off if I lost that one, because there's no sense in losing. Like, that was one of those, if you lose that, you just turn off the system and walk away. And here we've got Shion and Pain, 30 soldiers versus 20 samurai. Not really a bad fight, not really, you know. But he gets Shiva's dagger the second it's active, which means I don't get to use any of my abilities, because I'm not going to be able to recover from that. But, however, I take out all of his troops, while losing only one due to his troops. The other one that I lost is due to his Shiva's dagger. But yeah, he's going to spam Shiva's dagger and piss me all sorts of the hell off. Because he's going to do it again, right when I'm getting ready to cast. It's like, you're a dick. You, sir, are a dick. And I can't wait to defeat you. But once I start using my abilities, he doesn't throw out his last Shiva's dagger. And the best thing about Shion is, look how little power her flame cannon actually takes. You can just spam the hell out of that. Like, I really wish there was an item that decreased special attacks power so that you could spam them more often. I would love to have Junin be able to spam flame cannon like this. With her, like, what? I think she's got 16 MP now at this point. Like, that's So much so that I'm launching it at his dead body. I'm trying to incinerate his dead body. I'm like Roy Mustang going against Lust. Those of you who are Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood fans. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got very little left in the episode, so I'll go ahead and end it here, because it's about done. And I will see you guys in the next installment where it goes back to live commentary. So till then, later everyone.